So I found Hillsborough Center, and Hillsborough Center is off of East Washington Road. There's a street called Center Road. So basically I was turning around and I ran into this area that had a barn with this witch symbol on it. They have a sign out that says, for appointment, call 603-464-6585. And it's called Well Sweep Art Gallery. So here's a video of the gallery at Well Sweep. So as you can see, it's a barn attached to a white house over here. So what's unusual about this building is that they have a large wall of windows in the front. I guess that'll be very appealing to anybody who want to drive by and see the art studio. And notice they have something going on inside. What is unusual is that these windows appear to be placed in front of a wall so that you cannot see in. So you would think if they had an art gallery inside and they had a large group of windows here, they would want to keep that open to advertise all the artistic greatness they have on the inside instead of covering all of that up. And then they have what appears to be another large door on the right. Unlike the rest of the barn, it is colored red. It looks like something like a large panel. And I don't know if that is something like a large door. And in front of that is a piece of artwork depicting a witch with a pointed hat. And on their website, it's marked as folk art. And then they got these little signs on the property. It isn't much for advertising. It's more like something to just identify itself and remain very vague about it, almost as if they have a very select clientele. And they're not really in the business of advertising themselves or what they are. I had to back the car up and zoom in on the sign before I got an idea about what it was. And then you see the entrance on the left, I guess. And honestly, it looks like, I don't know, like an underground bar or something like that during the Prohibition era. It's all real secret and mysterious. This little art gallery with a witch on the front of the building. So this whole thing kind of looked very odd to me. And then it says, for appointment, call 603-464-6585. And then across the street is this little red house. And it has the shades drawn in front, but it has this sign on it that says Sissy Art Studio. There is a post for hanging a sign in the front, but nothing is there. And that looked especially odd to me due to the fact that it doesn't look much like an art studio. It looks like a tiny little house, and there's nothing artistic at all in the front yard or anything that would attract people. You'd think if you were an artist, you would have things in the front of your yard to really advertise that you were an art studio with lots of artwork inside. There is no artistic expression to this little house whatsoever. So I looked up both of these places on the internet. So let's start with the first one. And it turns out to be called the Gallery at Well Sweep. And it's named after this device here, which is a way of lowering a bucket into a well, I guess. I guess if it's too much to lower the rope down yourself into a well and then draw up your water, you could have this weird device thing beside your well, and you could go ahead and dip your bucket in the well using this weird device here. So it says, creating an art gallery in our weathered antique barn seemed natural to my husband and I as we moved into our new home in October of '02. So on the home page here, they don't mention themselves by name. They just say, my husband and I moved into our new home, and the barn kind of inspired them to create a gallery out of it. So if you go to the About page, you will finally be able to read their names. And their names are Bob Lint and Jane Pinnell Lint. They mentioned that Bob Lint and Jane Pinnell Lint purchased the property in 2002. And the concept of a gallery evolved from the many fine paintings and etchings which they had collected, as well as their interest in art. Bob is a photographer and Jane is a potter. So Bob was in the Navy in 1945 and 46, and after attending the University of West Virginia, he followed a career as a plastics engineer and technical service representative, finally retiring from Rome Haas Company in the 80s. He's a collector of fine art. The gallery is a perfect post-retirement career for Bob. Then it says Jane went to school to study in psychology, and then after raising her two daughters, she went back for a master's degree, and then she became the founder and publisher of Wellspring magazine, and that's a publication for people who work with children. And then it says during those years at home, she became a potter and a painter, which fits in perfectly with the gallery. And that's kind of an odd way of saying that. You know, it's like saying during my years as a stay-home mom, I practiced painting and creating pots. And that fits in perfectly with my explanation of why I have a weird art gallery in my yard, you know? It says the gallery is open for special events during the summer and fall. And then it shows a picture of this and says our back porch looks out on the village field. Here we serve refreshments, hold workshops, and enjoy the view of the pottery shop and the blacksmith shop. If you want to contact them, their names are Bob Lint and Jane Pinnell at 584 Center Road in Hillsborough, New Hampshire. And they don't have any photographs of themselves. But if you go to events, they do have a few photographs of two musicians. And they are Bill and Ann Thomas. And I guess they play Irish music and they sing Irish songs. And I believe that this is the husband and wife team of Thistlewood, JP and Pam Stoher. At the bottom it says suggested donation $10, and then they mention that donations will support the very special arts in Vermont and New Hampshire. And Jane served on the board of VSP Florida when she was the owner and publisher of Wellspring magazine. And I guess very special arts has to do with retarded people who are artists. So let's see if we get a picture of Jane Pinnell. All right, this is janepinell.com. And here's a picture of Jane Pinnell. And it says she's the author of 2 books. And both of those books are mentioned in more detail with photographs on the Gallery at Well Sweep website. All right, here is Robert E. Lint. And he just recently passed away. He just recently passed away, it says. It's the same guy from the Well Sweep Gallery. It says the same stuff. But according to this, he passed away July 13th, 2018 at the age of 91. So it says, creating an art gallery in our weathered antique barn seemed natural to my husband and I as we moved into our new home in October of '02. And then it mentions across the street, Sissy Shattuck, an accomplished painter, fills her gallery with art. Then I looked up Sissy Shattuck, and it was on the website called livinghistoryeventnewhampshire.com. And it said Sissy was born near Vienna, Austria, where she studied at the Academy of Fine Arts. After her certification for art education, she earned the diploma in graphics and painting. It says that, studies at the Schule des Schöns in Salzburg under someone named Oskar Kokoschka were a decisive influence on the young artist, comparing her work to the vibrant music of Igor Stravinsky. This guy awarded her a prize in painting. Her works are held in many private and public collections, both in the U.S. and abroad. So the last thing I looked into was the VSA, which is the Very Special Arts. And they wrote that Jane Pinnell served on the board of VSP Florida and now takes donations for the VSA in Vermont. So I looked up the VSA on their website, www.vsavt.org, and I saw that they posted a photograph of 11 young people, and they look like they have different disabilities. I guess that some of these kids have mental disabilities while others have physical disabilities. I feel that the military is experimenting on people and causing them to become disabled. And they all have different mental disabilities, such as schizophrenia and autism. Some of them may be considered idiot savants. So when I go to the VSA, the Very Special Artist website out of Vermont, and I see that they posted this photograph of 11 young people. Some look like they're mentally disabled, while others I really can't tell. They look very much like people that will be chosen by the military to work in different programs. I wonder if some of these kids are disabled due to their involvement in different military programs such as MK Ultra. And honestly, they begin to train and groom people like this to act very regimented and to move about almost robotically. And when they give these types of people sunglasses, you cannot instantly tell that they have disabilities. But they do. And they like choosing these types of people because they're very easy to program. And they will always follow orders, including orders that will sound insane and evil to regular people who are sane. The military finds that people with slightly below average intelligence or mental disabilities are the easiest to program in mind control operations and then use them against anybody else. So I find it a very important correlation that there is this strange art gallery, that there are these two shadowy art galleries in Hillsborough Center. And it says on the website that the owner of one of these galleries served on the board of VSP Florida and now takes donations for the VSA in Vermont. So I wonder if they will ever utilize these people in any of their art shows. And I wonder what type of art shows they may have in these type of galleries. So as this video goes on, you will begin to notice that something is very wrong in Hillsborough. When I first went into Hillsborough in 2018 and got the footage that became the first 3 parts of this documentary, I honestly did not think I had enough to upload onto the internet as an investigation. So I just kept the video, and honestly I had to move on to other things. So for about 1.5 years, I just kept the video footage that I took in Hillsborough in the summer of 2018, and I decided to keep it off the internet until I returned.